Are you shy or are you wounded? Honestly, it was definitely a rhetorical question. The answer was wounded. She was basically talking about how there are so many things that belong to us that we don't claim ownership of. And I think at the time I came up with this slogan, plain Aaron Harrison. It's like, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I don't know what I thought it was going to be, y'all, but I was like, oh, that's a whole like little logo for it and everything. Brought my friends along. It really hit me because I was at a place where I was getting into entrepreneurship. I was doing upcycle clothing, like doing a tutorial.
Yeah.
And I had to get out, got into selling my pieces. And so that was like,
That's a big step.
I was nervous because up until that point, I had made clothes for people. They were always the designs that people wanted. Like, it was always custom designs. The idea that I'm creating it first and then presenting it to people, like, will they like my idea, like my designs? And then just even on the technical side, like, I wanted to make sure I made stuff that was good quality and it lasted. I thought I had to justify the price, a whole other thing. I was really realizing that if I wanted to stand out, I needed to start speaking up. What was that moment for you where you felt like it's time for me to start speaking up more?
That's a good question. Before I get into the business, I think the personal comes first because I feel like the personal drove the business. I had did entrepreneurship where I was part of a network marketing group, and that had me very much full force in social media, posting every single day, promoting the business. I was able to see how social media can be used to drive your business revenue, whatever goals you have for yourself. And though I had removed myself from that business at one point, still in the back of my head personally, even though my actions wasn't reflecting it, I still had goals of allowing social media to connect me with people in a way bigger than myself. But because I left this business, I didn't know exactly how to still allow this personal goal to take place. When I think back to it, I think it was the persistent idea I had of, Kayla, what if you were consistent with posting? What if you showed up? What if you allowed yourself to show Kayla the angel in your fullness and people liked that? But because of how my time in the business ended, I felt like I was talking to a void on social media. Y'all know that feeling.
Okay.
Where at one point people are commenting and responding back, and then the same thing you were doing isn't getting the same results that you wanted. And so it impacted me to a level to where I was like, I just don't need to show up. No one cares what Kayla has to say. In a sense, I took that in my personal life too. When I left the business, I fell into let me just do what my parents want me to do. Let me get this 9-to-5 job. Let me put my head down and do all the things that everyone else expected me to do. But I was disconnected from what Kayla wanted to do. I think back to the end of 2023, where I was just like, Kayla, you have these social platforms. Even my 5,000 followers on Instagram, that's nothing to be quiet about. But I knew I wanted to make a bigger impact. And so, though I did not know exactly what it was, personally, I wanted to start posting on social media. So I did. I've had to get dressed every day. So I was going to record me getting dressed every day. And being able to start that from me just posting something that just came natural to me, it was like I had no choice but to show the little pieces of Kayla at the same time. People are seeing my outfits. People are liking it. People are seeing me getting back into color and not feeling like I got to adhere to the business, all the basics, no offense. But look, we are here in our beautiful colors. I feel like Kayla. And you look like Jada. I love that for us. Being able to use my face to showcase that behind the scenes, this was really the connecting piece to the business of what I have going on right now. As I'm posting on social media, it's not like I was able to post and still be confident. I lacked a lot of confidence, but I still posted. I still showed up. I still sat on my phone and reported. From me building that consistency, I was using affirmations to help me with showing up. I was using affirmations to affirm the truth of who Kayla is, which is that Kayla is a content creator. And now I am a joy influencer. To see the power of affirmations in my own life, that then allowed me to create the off the page affirmation guide, standing firm in the truth of I am someone who can impact people to think more positively about themselves. I am someone who is able to influence people to truly transform the way that they see themselves and how they show up in the world. And even when it came to building off the page guide, I still had a lot of resistance. But as I was doing it, I was able to actively show and confirm for myself, like, Kayla, you know what you're talking about. And with the sales that I've been able to have on the off the page affirmation guide, it shows that people trust me to do the same for them too.
One of the things that came up as you were talking is the feeling of, okay, I started posting, or I started showing up differently. For many of us, it starts out with content. A lot of us are making content. Either we're pursuing careers as content creators, influencers, or we're just using content to market our business. That's where we get to find ourselves and practice putting ourselves out there for whatever reasons. But I think that there is something to be said about when you start out doing it, you finally get the confidence and courage to do it. It doesn't feel like it's being heard.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it's being recognized. And then that's when the doubt starts to come back in. Hold up. Okay, first of all, I did the hook. I did a back handspring and the camera. Like I did all the, I reeled them in.
But they're not here.
I'm on all these trending audio. Like I'm doing all the things and it doesn't feel like people are seeing me.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I was as well, especially at the point that I was being shy or wounded. I was making content. Like, wow, this was not the beginning of my journey at all. But now I'm at a place where I'm making it and it doesn't feel effective.
Yeah.
And it's not quick at all. And I was starting to feel like, dang, I'll shut up then. I'll be crying. Clearly, I've made a mistake in thinking y'all care about what I'm doing. I think that people don't care until you give them a reason.
Oh, for sure.
Getting past the emotion of this stings because I care, which is valid.
That reminds me of the defense mechanism that we use. It's hard to create something and not expect a certain result. When I put out a content, I'm liking it. I expect everyone else that sees it to like it. I watched it back multiple times. Y'all know content. And so you get to that point where you're posting, you are expecting certain results. And when you're not getting the result, I know for me, just even simply growing up, my defense mechanism, when I felt like someone was listening to me, I shut up.
Yeah.
I shut down and I keep everything in. Thanks to the awareness and developing, truly allowing myself to push past it and realizing that even if it's not the initial results that I'm wanting, what am I still gaining from the experience? And allowing myself to not be so concerned with the numbers, which I think for anyone who is creating content, that's the first thing you're seeing. You're looking at the numbers. So you're starting from zero and you're like, in order to grow. And when it may not go in the direction or at the speed that we want, it's easy to go back and doubt. But one of the things that that I'm still doing even now to this day is still pushing through for the greater reason of why I'm showing up.
Yeah.
I'm showing up because whether I'm posting an affirmation post and that one person said, Kayla, I needed to hear this today, that's enough for me. Or even for myself, trying new ideas of content and putting out different things to see who I can relate to and who I can resonate to. And allowing myself to not only be content with the results that I'm getting, because just posting, you are getting results, even if it's not what you make, but allowing yourself to still show up for the bigger reason of why you're creating the content. I'm not creating content just to get 1 million followers. I'm creating content to make an impact and show people the power of affirmations. And with every post, every angel talk that I do, I know that I'm able to do that for people and allow myself to hold on to that. But also with the business mindset, allow myself to still learn, okay, this post is doing well, let's do more of this. Or maybe this isn't resonating, less of that. And maybe it is, okay, am I showing the parts of Taylor that I want to show? Am I connecting the dots and making it make sense for people and allowing that reflecting to continue to do better, not reflecting to keep yourself stagnant. And I think that's the difference of where I am now compared to where I was.
I love that. I like being able to bring the business part of in it as well.
Yeah.
Because people are always saying it's not personal, it's business. And I still to this day don't agree with that phrase at all, because
It's like not personal to you. Yeah.
I'm personally bothered by it. I'm impacted. But I do feel like there is some validity in not internalizing the results.
Yes,
And
yes.
I feel like that's the part where I think that the journey for me became more challenging. And that's where most of the work came in, because if you tell me to do something, I can do it. Or if I know what I need to do, I can get it done. But what happens when what I know to do is not yielding the results that I'm looking for is in me? And in the sense where I felt like there were some things that I would be feeling that I knew I needed to share that I was afraid to share, because I didn't feel like I was qualified enough to speak on it. I felt like it was going to be met with resistance from people. I felt like I'm still growing, so I can't speak from a place of authority. And I think that last one in particular, I feel like that's one that I'm seeing so much in people.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you what to do, but then I'm going to immediately reel it back in and be like, yeah, it's okay. I was like, I understand. My phrase was always, it's okay. I get it. Like, I'm speaking to myself and I'm speaking to you. And I'm like, I'm starting to have a visceral reaction to that phrase, because I'm realizing that it's no longer me doing it as a way to relate to people, but it's a way to almost check myself, in a sense where I'm now almost like downplaying what I know. And I think that it becomes challenging when what you do is not about telling people what to do, but it is in showing that you have something that can help. I could come across as a very relatable person. I think that's one of my biggest strong suits. And yeah, like people always telling me, like, are you in my mind? Why are you up opportunities like this?
Why would you say?
That's literally why. And so I think that part is really important, but it sometimes can stop there. It doesn't lead to the transformation. It doesn't lead to what I can help them to do. It's almost like kicking up a bunch of unresolved trauma and life problems.
Yeah. I like what you're saying with that, because thinking back to when I first was sharing the affirmations on my page, where I didn't have a product, I simply was just creating the content. I think back, I often was trying to make it make sense for people, where it'd be like, oh, 3 steps to forgive yourself, or how to make sure you're finding joy in every way. And it's, yes, that may be nice for some people, but similar to what you're saying, and thinking for myself of how I'm also presenting myself, I'm not saying that you can take these affirmations and you're going to be happy the next day. You're going to take these affirmations and you're not going to be sad. That's not true. And I know for myself, that's not true. Affirmations help you to transform the way that you see yourself, but it's not a simple 1, 2, 3, done. Affirmation and truly just the authenticity journey that I'm on, it's a lifelong journey. I have to keep showing up. And so I almost appreciate you saying that, because it gives me permission to allow myself to do more of bringing people into the journey. And I know that's something that I need to do more of. Again, always places to grow and room to grow as a creator, but also not being afraid to bring people in, because I may not be exactly where I want to be, but I'm trying, I'm showing up, I'm doing the things, and I believe in me enough that I can show me and inspire other people to find themselves as well.
So, speaking on this idea of speaking from a place of authority, I think that's like the biggest part of what getting unshy means. When I first started talking about it, I told you it was completely an accident. I made a video and I said, are you shy or are you wounded? And I told the story of that conference with Dr. Faith. Then that same year, I went to that retreat where she told me that my confidence was going to hold me back from making millions of dollars in my business. I was like, bro, why is that coming for me so hard? I'm sitting here thinking, it was interesting because when I shared it, I was just sharing the things that came to my mind. The first time I talked about it, not a viral video, but it was a viral moment. If that makes sense, I realized like I had tapped into something based off the way people were responding to it.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things I felt nervous about saying, because in my head, I knew what I believed deeply, but I'm not shy. You feel how you want to feel. I'm not shy. I felt like that was going to be met with a lot of resistance from people, because we've been told that being shy is just the personality trait.
It's okay. It's
shy. And you know what really bothered me about it the most? I felt like it coddled people. It just set people in a space of being a victim. That's what really pisses me off. It angers, it irritates me, because it takes away, it seemingly takes away your power to choose different.
Yeah.
Because this is just who I am. And there are some people that I know won't receive that. And so when I talk about it, I was like, man, I know this is going to ruffle a couple of feathers, but I put it out there anyway. And I put it out there in a safe way. I didn't tell people that you're not shy. I shared how I'm not. I just told the story, and I told the reason why. That again goes back to the relatability. But at that point, I needed to say it that way to get it out. But I didn't realize it was opening up the doors to who I was called to serve with my business, because it still felt very broad. And so in that, though, I think at that point, I talked about it from a place of just using your voice. And I think that at that time, it was for me, and it was also for the people that I was sharing it with. But now I don't feel like I'm at that place anymore, where I need to share it from a place of just straight relatability. I can talk about what works. I can pick up on what's going on with people. I can hear your story, and I can reflect it back to you. I can hear your strengths, and I can reflect it back to you. And I can give you inspiration for how to present that to people. But most importantly, I think that what people need is the accountability to show up, and to keep showing up, and to not shrink. Because as you start to show up in this way, it's very tempting to go back to what you're used to and revert to it, because it's so uncomfortable, or you might end up having the opportunity where it does go viral, or somebody, you know, want to give you a couple $1,000 to help you with that. How have you started to show up differently, or creating offer page, going on to YouTube, or making a space where you feel more comfortable and confident, conquering a lot of your fears and your constant time?
I still be surprised myself sometimes.
Even the way you dress yourself, I feel like it's elevated. What has that journey been like for you, and having more authority, or claiming your authority, claiming your inheritance?
My journey of claiming my inheritance. The first thing that comes to mind is remembering who I've always been and who God made me to be. And one of the things, ever since a child, and even I'm sure you're watching this now, I always have a smile on my face. I have always been a huge smiler, and at times I always thought that was my shield, where, oh, as long as I'm smiling, no one will know what's going on with Kayla. So in some ways I used it almost as like my back. But then even that undermines the true value of my smile. Is truly just that inner joy that God placed inside of me, that even on the days when I may not be feeling it, I'm able to spread that joy to somebody else. Reclaiming my inheritance, showing up as the full version of Kayla, it remembering the strengths that I have, which is in my joy. And even though that may seem something small, I reflect back on a friend of ours who was going through a period of grief. In the midst of her doom scrolling, coming upon my content was the turning point in her day, whatever it was that she was doing, that allowed her to find that one seed of joy that she needed to keep going.
Yeah.
That one thing, hey, we're talking about these affirmations. I might as well say it with her. All right, let's go. And just knowing how much I can inspire people to be and to find that joy for themselves. And that's why I call myself a joy influencer. And being able to remember that I've always been a joy influencer, whether I was creating content or not. Getting back to that and seeing my joy and my smile as a strength has been the one thing. Even when I was doing outfit of the day content, when I first was starting to build the consistency, I was like, oh, I'd rather do the trending audio or whatever. But sometimes I think back, and in me just being my Taylor self, I think about the goofy, sometimes pretty funny. And people enjoy that and were able to connect with me in that way. Just how much power it is in just being me and not feeling like I needed to mask or not share that. So I think that for the one side. And then I think another part of that is knowing the strength of my words, knowing the strength of my voice. I spent so many years defaulting to silence, and I talk about that a lot in the Off the Page Affirmation Guide. And even for myself, to be at a point where I am now consistently creating content where I'm talking and really bringing people into Kayla and what's going on in Kayla's world, to know that my story is an inspiration to others and is a tool of encouragement for others has definitely been powerful in helping me to be consistent, helping me to keep showing up. And knowing my authority, the Off the Page Affirmation Guide is a tool to help you with writing affirmations for yourself, even in the midst of someone not maybe being at that point to where they feel encouraged to write their own affirmations. I can still empower them to see the power of affirmations and reciting the affirmations with me in my content, giving them that glimpse into what can be for themselves as well. And by me knowing that God put me here to spread joy and be a light, to be a vessel, I've always said, I want to be God's vessel of light and love. And to know that I'm doing that by simply being Kayla, but then going to the business side of, okay, yes, I can share affirmations and inspire people, but then I can also empower people to use affirmations for themselves with the guide. I have no choice but to see how much my authority and how much my confidence is increasing with that, and that I am positioning myself for all of the great things, all the great goals I have for myself, being a creator, a business owner, an entrepreneur, and using my voice to attract the right people and resonate with the people in the way that they need it to as well.
I love that. It's hard. Dude. You talking to make me so fresh.
And again, this is a beautiful thing too, like with the authority piece, like I can sit here and talk, and even sometimes as I'm talking, I'm just like, oh my gosh, is this making sense? Is it connecting? But again, it's just that doubt, and it's just that negative thinking that still tries to come up. But even as I'm sitting here talking, I literally know that from this moment, like I'm literally being interviewed by Jada West. This brings me back to one of the beautiful things, the ways that I first got connected with Jada was by purchasing the Getting Unshy workbook. And in the workbook, I got the work. Let's talk about that. The reason why I got the workbook was I stumbled upon Jada West on YouTube, TikTok Live. I stumbled upon your TikTok Live, and I can't even remember exactly what you were talking about on that live, but it felt like you was attacking me, and that the live might have been, Kayla Wallace, you need to live right now. Whatever she's talking about, you need to be sad for it. Can I tell y'all, I just felt attacked. But not only did I feel attacked, I felt heard. I felt seen, because even in that moment, I had asked you to look at my profile and you gave me some real tangible clicks. I remember I took some tips and I was like, okay, bet. And from just hearing you and seeing you speak and hearing a word, getting inside, a phrase I had never heard before, it resonated so deeply for me because I was in that place where I thought I was shy. I thought I was, oh, maybe I don't really want to talk too much in content. I was wounded from the past, and I was allowing that wound to keep me stagnant in something that I knew I wanted to do more of. I knew I wanted to show up more fully in. I wanted to talk in front of people and use my page to really connect with others.
Yeah.
I knew that's what I wanted. I was lacking the confidence and honestly just the right tools and steps to do that. Hearing you talk about the Getting Unshy workbooks was the deep reflection I needed to get into who Kayla is, how I want to show up online, and being confident enough to do that. To think that one of the things that I wrote, there's a section on collaboration. Getting unshy, it's that deep work, but it's also showing up and getting online and doing the things that you need to do. I remember I was at a point where, when it comes to collaborating, I was just like, oh no, I don't gotta collaborate with others, but I do know that I wrote you down as someone that I wanted to collab with, and to just be here now, literally being interviewed, I'm just sitting here knowing how much of a goal come to life, allowing this to be another building block of confidence for me to be like, Kayla, the things that you wrote about a year ago are now coming true. And knowing that I just have to stay alert, stay aligned, and stay focused on what Kayla wants. But to know that Getting Unshy was such a catalyst for that, and forever in debt to Getting Unshy. And I'm just so grateful to know that my journey is connected to yours, but also is a way to inspire others to really see just how impactful Getting Unshy is. Not even just the work, but the collective itself. Because literally the collective was where I was able to launch the off the page affirmation guide and having my website, and to have you as a resource, as that voice of reason that I needed to just keep going. Because you can know what you need to do, but to have the support of you, while also you just truly being a guide where you weren't handholding, but you truly were just offering and opening me up to see what it is that I needed to see to direct myself to the right path. And I'm grateful for that.
I love it. For real. There was just something about the way that you took the workbook and really applied it, and then you did it publicly. I was like, oh my God, I didn't even tell her to do this. Like, how does she know? I was so messed up by that, like in the best way possible. I was like, oh my, this is it. Yes, exactly this. We are here together because Kayla is coming on as the resident guide for the Getting Unshy Collective. You heard her story. You see the results, they speak for themselves. I would love to invite anybody who is in a place like that, who is courageous enough to take that first step to come and join us and Getting Unshy Collective, so that we can help you to do the thing that you really want to do. You feel like you're too shy. You don't feel like you have the right personality for it. You don't feel like you were built for it. But if it's in your heart, if the desire is that strong, it was built for you. It was made for you. And we would love to be the people that help guide you to making it a reality. Thank you so much.
Thank you for taking the courage that you needed to put yourself out there and promote Getting Unshy, and allowing myself to be someone that you attracted, allowing me to be part of the upcoming collective for this fall, truly allowing me to get more of my authority of that joy influencer, helping so many people on their journey to making their entrepreneurial dreams come true. And even in the process, knowing I still have more to do, but being encouraged that I can keep going.
And we're doing it together.
Oh, how exciting.
I love you. Y'all be good. Stay safe. And if you are enjoying the collective, welcome already. We're so excited for you.